Ballet became my passion when I was 7. But because I lived rurally, I could only attend class once a week, and that included a 5-hour round train trip. And sometimes I wouldn't get home until 3 a.m. Because ballet is about form and physical appearance, it became quite self-absorbing. The more I sought perfection, the more I found myself struggling with low self-worth. There were many times that I went home in tears. There was many times I wanted to quit under the pressure. Nearing the end of high school, I auditioned for a few dance schools, but I wasn't accepted into any of them. So these setbacks only left me with a further sense of failure and inadequacy. Well, when I was 17, my parents separated. I was pretty devastated. The easiest option was to just give up. Discipline went right out the door. I only just passed year 12. I was so riddled with self-doubt and disappointment that I went through most of my young adulthood not really knowing where I fitted. It felt like failure was always looming around the corner, and my dreams and my passions for dance just became a distant memory. 10 years went by and I had a loving husband and 3 children, but I still felt that loss of identity and that sense of failure. There was something still missing. I said one of those prayers, the ones where you get on your knees and you say, God, if you are real, I need you. It was that prayer that changed my life. I had an experience with God that I will never forget. Uncontrollable tears suddenly began streaming down my cheeks, and it was like he touched my shoulder. And it was in an instant that fear and that doubt began to dissolve, and that real sense of coming alive, feeling whole, started to happen for the first time in my life. I had a real deep hunger then to know who this God was. So one night I was at home at my table and I was reading and praying. I remember having this sense of knowing. It was like an understanding that I was going to dance again. I hadn't even told my husband I used to dance. Very few people understood or appreciated my rediscovered passion. I didn't realise how much a part of me dancing was. I'll never forget my first lesson coming back. At the end, we did a traditional reverence, and I gave thanks to God. It was in that moment that I realised that dancing had a much bigger purpose than I had ever known. And I was about to go on a journey to discover what that was. Over the 7 years, I was growing and changing. My identity was being restored. I received honours for my ballet teacher's exam. It was at this time then I started to ask myself some deep questions. What was I created specifically to do? What did I want to do with dance? So I started to choreograph performances that brought social justice to audiences' awareness, to pioneer a way to contend for a person's destiny, issues along the lines of human trafficking. Finding my own voice has never been something that came easy, so I never imagined that I could be a voice for anyone else. So I've recently taken my first dance theatre performance to Cambodia. Victims of sex trafficking have been given no freedom whatsoever. So to be given permission to move or to dance, to express how you feel, is incredibly liberating, because then they can feel valued, heard, and understood. telling their story through dance, they find the pathway back to Him in body, soul, and spirit.